Alright boys, we're having a look at some statistical calculations today, and there's a few words that we need to understand first. We've talked about all of these, but three of them start with M, and then there's of course one that starts with an R. Now, I'll give you a second here. I hope you can remember what some of these are and what they refer to. Our first one is our mean. Okay, what's the mean refer to? Well, actually, each of these words, we can find out something about it by one letter in the name. The mean is what we might think of as the average. Okay, we also add them together and divide by the number of scores. There'll be some theory notes to go along with this on the board, but the main thing we understand is that the mean is what you might think of as the average. We add together all the scores and then divide by how many scores there are. The next one is median. Well, as we said yesterday, the median, we find that in the middle. And this one is this of our M words is the only one with an I in it. So that's the middle score. So one of the key features there is we must write them in order. Okay, we can't just go and pick the middle one as they're written. They must be written in order. Okay, if we're talking about the height of the class, we go put them from shortest to smallest. If we talk about the number of points scored in a game, we go put the least number of points first and then put them in order to the largest. And then whichever number we find in the middle, that's our median score. Our other M word is the mode. And again, one letter tells us about that, it's the O. And that one is the most frequent. Okay, whichever one occurs most often. So last week when we talked about the number of siblings that people have, well, the most people in the class had 2 siblings. So that's our mode score. Our mode score is 2 siblings. And our range of scores, as the name suggests, is highest minus lowest. Okay. So I hope you've understood what those 4 things are referring to, and now we're going to apply them to a set of scores. Okay, so you'll see here that we've got a set of scores. Now let's pretend these are the number of points scored by a basketball team. So if we wanted to go work out our statistical measures here, we're going to need to go and perform some calculations. So you can, if you're asked to find all of these, you can find them in whatever order you want. I think let's first find the range. Well, our range is our highest score. Which one's our highest score here? I think it is this game where they scored 40 points, and their lowest is the previous game where they scored 17. So our range is simply 40 minus 17, which is 23 points. Okay, our range is 23 points. That's the difference between their best game and their worst game in terms of points scored. What about our mean? Well, our mean, we need to add them all up. So we're going to go 28 plus 17 plus 40 plus everything in the middle and 19. Now I've just put ... in there. Remember, that's all the scores in between. Okay, and that'll tell us how many points they've scored in the season. Now could you check on your calculator, but I hope you'll see that the total number of points scored should be 245. Now, that's not actually our mean though, that's the number of points scored. So that's our total number of points. We need to divide that by how many games they played. And if you look at it, they played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We go divide that by 9. And we find that our mean is 27.2 points per game. Now, just as a little aside here, it's 27.2. That doesn't mean they scored 0.2 points per game. But what it means is approximately 27 points have been scored per game. Now, you might actually look at this set of scores and say, well, hold on, 27 isn't actually on that list. That's fine. What we're saying is there's if we add all these together and divide by 9 games, okay, then we get they're scoring approximately 27 per game. Now, that we think of as the average, but it's actually the mean in terms of an official mathematical name. What was our next M word? Our next M word was mode. Well, if we go look for the modal score, or the mode? Well, the mode is just the score that occurs the most often. Well, you can't see it on this screen, but the scores were 28, 17, 40, 31, 28, 30, 24, 28, and 19. Well, the only score that occurs more than once on that list is 28. So the 28 occurs 3 times. Now, that means our modal score is 28. Our mode is not 3. Now, the score, it means in 3 games they have scored 28 points, but that doesn't mean the mode is 3. The mode is whatever the score is, which in this case is 28. And what about our last one? We need to find out median. Well, what you'll notice here is that the scores aren't in order. Okay, these were our scores. They were 28, 17, 40, 31, 28, 30, 24, 28, and 19. Now, if I went and just picked the middle score here and said, okay, that one's the middle, well, that's no good to me because we're not sure whether that's actually the middle or just the middle of their season. So all we need to do is, as I said earlier, we need to rewrite them in order. So the lowest one is 17. Okay, well, just to be sure, we'll cross them off as we go. Then 19. The next one was 24. We've got our 28s coming next. We have 3 of those. Then what's next? A 30, a 31, and a 40. 1, 2, 3. Now let's just confirm I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good. I haven't forgotten about anything. Now, all we do here is we need to go find the number that's in the middle. Our most basic method, we simply cross off one at the top, one at the bottom, one at the top, one at the bottom. Bang. Keep going, and we find it's 28. Now, by coincidence, if we had used that score of 28 up here, it's the same, but that is purely coincidence. Okay, you notice either side of that we've got 31 and we've got 30 here and here. As I said, it just happens that their 5th game they scored 28 points. It could have not worked out that way. So here we have it, boys. We have our 4 statistical measures. We have the mean of 27, the mode of 28, the median of 28, and the range of 23. So you need to be able to know how to calculate those things, and we're going to now do some with the first 15 rugby side from their scores this year.